My mother texted, "Don't come home for Christmas. You're not doing well enough to fit the image we want." She had no clue I was the boss behind the company they were hoping to work with. I said nothing. The next day, their deal collapsed. "Hello, I'm Tessa, 30. When my own mother told me I wasn't welcome for Christmas due to my lack of success in their eyes, I realized I had been erased from their ideal family story. What she didn't know was that I had the ability to break that illusion. I wasn't always this calm. Growing up in an affluent family fixated on appearances, everything revolved around how things looked. My parents owned a prestigious real estate agency. You know the type: flashy ads, family Christmas photos, architectural magazines, and holiday parties with champagne flowing freely. They loved to host and be admired, but they only ever admired one of their kids, my older sister, Camille. She was a blonde beauty, a former pageant queen turned lifestyle influencer. Each year, her engagement rings got larger, and her sense of entitlement followed suit. Meanwhile, I was the quiet one, the math whiz, the girl with glasses who forgot to smile in photographs. They never really knew what to do with me. I wasn't useful for photo opportunities, so I was kept in the background. But while Camille was doing sponsored skincare hauls and my parents were selling luxury condos, I was quietly creating something of my own. I started at a struggling tech startup right after college, coding tirelessly and pushing boundaries. I faced failures, learned from mistakes, and got wiser. Fast forward to now, I'm the CEO of a cybersecurity company that recently secured government contracts and is at the forefront of AI protection technology. But here's something I never shared with my family. They never asked. They assumed I was still doing something with computers and didn't bother to dig deeper. I didn't care. I had my team, my own office, my own traditions. Last Christmas, I thought I might attend just for the heck of it. I sent a casual text in the group chat asking what time dinner was. Mom didn't even respond there. Instead, she texted me privately, "Don't come for Christmas. You're not successful enough for our image. We don't want questions." That was it. No warmth, no explanation, just rejection as if it were routine. I didn't cry or get angry. Instead, I ordered sushi and poured myself a glass of wine. Then, I lit the fireplace in my loft and sat in silence, watching the snow drift down outside. I wasn't shocked, I was just reminded. The next morning, my assistant forwarded me an urgent request from a boutique real estate firm seeking a cybersecurity partner for a significant international resort contract. There were compliance issues. The firm's international investors required proper digital protection before proceeding. The client? Camden and Blee, my parents' company. I stared at the screen, the irony almost comical. They needed me, yet they didn't realize the CEO of the firm they were eager to impress was the very daughter they had deemed too embarrassing for their holiday photo. I could have turned them down, but I didn't. Instead, I instructed my assistant Claire to arrange a meeting 2 days after Christmas in our boardroom. No video call, in person only. They arrived. Mom walked in first, looking flawless in a cream coat, carrying a leather folder. Dad followed, more relaxed, surveying the room as though it didn't meet his standards. Camille trailed behind, tanned and camera-ready, flipping her hair as if she expected recognition. I was already seated at the head of the long conference table when they entered. They didn't recognize me immediately. Claire stood up and announced, "Our CEO will lead this meeting. May I introduce you to Miss Tessa Halt?" They froze. Mom blinked as if trying to place me from a dream. Camille squinted. "Tessa, wait. Tessa Halt." Dad awkwardly coughed. "Is this a joke?" I smiled. "No joke. You needed a cybersecurity partner for your luxury resort contract. And here I am." Mom sat down slowly. I could sense the atmosphere shift. She was scrambling, calculating. "We didn't know," she said too quickly, suddenly attempting to smile. "You look different." I ignored that and calmly reviewed their file, asked all the right technical questions, and walked them through our requirements. Professional and unbothered. I didn't need revenge. I wanted them to squirm under their own assumptions. At the end of the meeting, I delivered the words that made the air turn still. "Unfortunately, after reviewing your digital compliance history and due diligence gaps, we'll have to decline this partnership." Camille's mouth dropped open. Dad leaned forward, red-faced. "You can't be serious," he said. "This deal is worth millions." Mom tried to appeal to emotions. "Tessa, this is your family." I stood up. "Was I your family when you texted me not to come for Christmas because I didn't fit your image?" Silence. They didn't even argue. I nodded once. "This meeting is over. and I walked out. I didn't look back as I left the boardroom. I didn't need to. The stunned silence behind me was enough. For the first time, I didn't leave with a knot in my stomach or guilt weighing me down. I walked out with dignity. It wasn't anger or revenge. It was something colder, something cleaner. A definitive end. I went home, changed into sweatpants, and sat on my balcony with a glass of red wine while the city lights twinkled in silence. I had no tears to shed. Their actions weren't surprising. They were merely confirming what I already knew. This was who they had always been, but I had never seen it so clearly before. Yet that clarity didn't make it easy. The next morning, I woke to a flood of messages. Claire, my assistant, sent an urgent text. You might want to check this. Attached was a link to a financial news website. The headline read, Camden and Blee's flagship resort deal collapses overnight after security compliance failure. I nearly dropped my coffee. Apparently, my rejection triggered a chain reaction. Their international investors withdrew immediately. The entire deal, worth nearly $200 million, had disappeared. All because they hadn't done their homework. All because they didn't know that the woman they excluded from Christmas was the one person who could have saved them. And I had chosen not to help, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. By noon, my email was overflowing. My dad sent a terse message with no greeting, just a PDF of legal jargon and a desperate line at the end. Can you reconsider? Camille followed with a voice note. I listened mainly out of curiosity. Tessa, look, this is a huge mess, okay? You caught us off guard. You never mentioned your company. How were we supposed to know you were the CEO? Her tone turned performative. Mom didn't mean the Christmas thing. She just, well, you know how she is about appearances. I deleted it halfway through. Then came the one I least expected, a call from Mom. I didn't answer, not immediately. But later that evening, after seeing she had called 5 times, I picked up. I didn't say a word, I just waited. Her voice was strained, fragile. Tessa, honey, I think we should talk. I didn't respond. She tried again. This was a misunderstanding. A big one. We didn't know your cybersecurity firm was yours. If we had known, things would have been different. Exactly, I replied, my voice low. That's the point. Silence fell. I pictured her in her kitchen, gripping the phone, trying to spin the situation into something salvable. We just thought you weren't doing well. You never explained what you really did. I laughed, a bitter sound. You never asked, Mom. You never cared to ask. The silence became sharp. You told me I wasn't welcome at Christmas because I didn't fit your image. I hope you see now that your image doesn't fit me. She made a soft noise, perhaps a sigh, maybe regret, but it was too late. Whatever guilt she felt now was performative, convenient because I was suddenly valuable, but love isn't transactional, nor is respect. We ended the call there. I never said I forgave her. I didn't hang up in anger. I simply finished the conversation calmly, like closing a chapter. A few days later, I learned more about the aftermath. The investors didn't just pull out of the deal. They issued a public statement regarding digital trust and data transparency. Camden and Blee was unofficially blacklisted from several elite investor networks. My dad tried to cover it up with some PR about restructuring. Camille deleted numerous Instagram posts and rebranded herself as a mindfulness entrepreneur. Meanwhile, I kept moving forward. I took a week off, flew to Prague for New Year's with my closest friends, indulged in pastries, and laughed until dawn. For once, I didn't feel the need to prove myself to anyone. When I returned, something unexpected occurred. One of my former college professors reached out. She was teaching a Women in Tech Leadership course and asked if I would guest speak. I was hesitant at first. Public speaking wasn't my strong suit, but I agreed. On the day I spoke to her class, I shared my entire story. How I was dismissed by my family, how I was told I didn't belong, and how I quietly built my path, leading boldly to the realization that self-worth isn't measured by family invitations or fake smiles. After the session, a student approached me, a shy girl named Serena, maybe 20 years old. She told me she had considered dropping out because her parents said that tech wasn't a real career for women until she heard me speak. That meant more than anything my family could ever say. Weeks went by without me reaching out to my parents. They tried a few more times, texts here, emails there. Camille even sent a bouquet of white roses with a card that read, "Let's not let business get in the way of family." I tossed them in the trash. I was done playing a game where I was only family when it suited them. Instead, I created a new family. Claire, my assistant, was promoted to Chief Operations Officer. Adam, my kind and goofy neighbor, and I began dating after months of awkward mutual flirting. I hosted my own version of Christmas in July, filled with friends, mismatched decorations, and no expectations. There was laughter, terrible karaoke, and burnt cookies. It was perfect. Looking back now, I realize something important. The best kind of revenge isn't loud or cruel. It's living your truth so fully that those who once dismissed you must watch from the sidelines, unable to reach you, unable to claim you, and unable to rewrite the version of you that no longer seeks their approval. So when people ask if I regret not helping my parents, I say no. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing. Just walk away, head held high, while their empire crumbles behind you.